Welcome to Brews and Reviews, episode 4. Today we're going to be doing something a little different because I didn't have time to eat lunch today. So this is going to be a triple threat. We're going to be talking about Ray Stevens and his Trump turn or lack of a Trump turn, Suncrusher from Revolution Brewing, and also these chicken wings that I got from the grocery store. So strap yourselves in. Let's just get this in the glass here. This is actually, I think, my favorite beer that I've reviewed so far. It's nothing amazing, but it's a very, very good example of type. Good IPA. Actually, this is technically a hobby wheat ale, but whatever. Close enough. Anyway, on to Ray Stevens, the important thing. The first question I'd like to ask you is, what do you think about the novelty song? A lot of people, it seems, don't like them. Funny songwriting and funny song making, music people shit on it, comedy people shit on it. It takes it from all sides. I don't know, I love it. I think there's nothing better. But I don't like all novelty songwriting. In fact, I consider myself something of a connoisseur of the novelty song. Ray Stevens, obviously great. I'm also a big fan of Tom Lehrer, Randy Newman. Most people hate Randy Newman. I think he's cool. And also, perhaps more obscurely, I will recommend one Cletus T. Judd. Songs like My Cellmate Thinks I'm Sexy, etc. He's great too. You want to stay away from Weird Al, Alan Sherman, Flight of the Conchords, stuff like that is mostly bad. Now, to talk about Ray Stevens a little more specifically, he's had a very, very long career, beginning in the 60s, or maybe even in the late 50s, actually. And his career has gone through 4 very distinct phases, as I see it. What he cut his teeth with was R&B style novelty records. These were songs like Whatever It Is, Green and Purple Pills, world's longest song title, I think, still. Ahab the Arab, Harry the Hairy Ape, songs like that. He works with the likes of Elvis, Dolly Parton. Second, he achieved probably the heights of his popularity with country novelty songs. The Streak, most famously, a #1 record in the US and the UK, I believe. Sitting Up with the Dead is great too. And my personal favorite, It's Me Again, Margaret. Then, about the time Obama got reelected the first time, there was this very bizarre rightward shift in Ray Stevens' songwriting. He then produced songs like Caribou Barbie, which about how much he loved Sarah Palin, and Obama Budget Plan, about how much he hated Obama. This was a big bummer to a lefty like me, and pretty surprising, considering that Ray Stevens had in the past written songs with a somewhat leftward bent, I thought, like Mr. Businessman, which was critical of business people. And there was also Would Jesus Wear a Rolex on his television show, which was took on TV ministers. So that's a fairly leftward-leaning song, if I do say so myself. Now we get to phase 4, and this is where it really gets interesting for the purposes of today's discussion. Since Trump has been elected, at least as far as I can tell, Ray Stevens has not released any more politically themed music. There's been something of a return to form in terms of content, at least, with songs like Taylor Swift Is Watching Me. But I can't say that there has been a return to form in terms of quality at any level, in terms of the video production, the audio production, the lyrics, the melody, anything. Ray, you've been disappointing me, man. You need to start writing some Trump songs, I think. The real question is, what do we make of this lack of a Trump turn in Mr. Stevens' writing? But what I'm choosing to believe is that Ray Stevens may even have abandoned his right-wing views, or he could be a never-Trump conservative, a Mitt Romneyite or something like that. But my point is, I don't think that Ray Stevens is as big a fan of one Donald Trump as you might expect given his former output. Then as I thought about this a bit more, it occurred to me that the problem might actually be a somewhat technical one, and that if you attempt to apply the Ray Stevens formula, or any of the various Ray Stevens formulae, because he can do a couple different things, to one Donald Trump, I don't know how that would quite work. The trouble is, it's pretty hard to embarrass Donald Trump, and a lot of Ray Stevens songs, the point of them is that someone is embarrassed or someone is doing something that might embarrass another person. You take a song like Mississippi Squirrel Revival. You know, a wayward young boy, a roguish young boy, brings in the squirrel into church just stuck in his shoebox, and then it gets loose and it goes berserk. Obviously, you know, there's tons of ways you could do something like that with Trump. You know, the little, like, the badger or whatever, like, gets his hair and runs off, or, you know. But at the same time, like, Trump would be mad that the badger had gotten his hair and run off with it or whatever. But he wouldn't really be embarrassed, because he can never be embarrassed. He'd just be like, this badger's out of control. This is a total animal. To consider my favorite Ray Stevens song, It's Me Again, Margaret, if there were some kind of obscene phone caller calling up Trump in the Oval Office or something, he would probably just be flattered. When you got to the chorus of, oh, you don't know me, Donald, but I know you, you know, Trump would just be like, yeah, of course you know me, everybody knows me, Donald Trump. I think the only songwriting approach that stands any chance of working on an artistic level, in terms of taking one Donald Trump down a peg, might be Sitting Up with the Dead. Now, if you don't know about the Southern tradition of sitting up with the dead, this isn't something that's done anymore, but it used to be a thing back in about 1930 or so, was that someone had to watch the body physically with their eyes until it went into the ground. Though I can't imagine President Trump ever being embarrassed about anything, I can imagine him being really, really afraid of, like, zombies or ghosts, in the same way that, like, black people in movies from 1930 are, like the ones where they're, like, wearing nightcaps and stuff. Imagine Donald Trump assigned to watch the body of one John McCain, and yet, all of a sudden, things start getting spookier, and, you know, the shadows start crawling across the walls. Oh no, what's that over there? Time for some reviews. Ray Stevens, it's hard to know what to give him. He's one of my favorite novelty songwriters, and yet at the same time, he did basically just write songs for the Republican Party. So, say he was a perfect 10 before that, I'm gonna dock him 2 points for his conservative views. We're gonna give him an 8. Suncrusher, this was actually surprisingly good. I think I'm gonna give this a 9. This is a very good beer. It's hoppy, but it's not too hoppy. You know, made by Revolution Brewing right here in Chicago. And, last of all, grocery store fried chicken wings, always a perfect 10. We'll see you next week on Brews and Reviews.